South Carolina's Charleston Post and Courier initially reported the fatal police shooting of an unarmed black man named Walter Scott as a traffic stop gone wrong, but the coverage changed dramatically when the paper and the New York Times obtained a cell phone video showing Officer Michael Slager shooting Scott in the back 8 times as he ran away. We're only going to show you a little bit of this video, which, as you probably know, is graphic. Slager has now been charged with murder, and the media's framing of the tragedy has been far different than what happened in Ferguson, Missouri.
I have watched the video, and I was sickened by what I saw.
This is a victim running away from the police, shot in the back. This is what some people said Ferguson was, but it turned out it wasn't.
The city should be commended for its swift action, and there are a lot of leaders stepping up in the face of this tragedy.
Joining us now from New York to analyze the coverage, David Webb, who hosts a Sirius XM radio show and is a Fox News contributor, and David Zurawik still with us here in Washington. David Webb, how has the tone of the country as the South Carolina story has played out, how has it differed from Ferguson?
Well, I think the tone's evolved from Ferguson, for one. We've taken a look at it, but see, we had clarity in South Carolina. We didn't have clarity in Ferguson. We had the lie told by Dorian Johnson. We had no video. We had contradictory witnesses. What has happened, however, Howie, is that over at MSNBC and some of the other more left-leaning areas, they tried to portray this as a black-white issue rather than the fact that we have a cop who shot a man running away in his back and killed him, and that is something we need to deal with from an honest reporting point of view. And by the way, something else that's not being talked about in the media, and I know some will react to this another way, which is the discussion needs to be how you deal with the police, because unfortunately, and while he didn't deserve to be shot, should never have been shot by this police officer, he bolted from the car leaving a passenger, and that needs to be part of the media narrative, how you deal with the police.
Right. Z, do you agree that since there's no definitive evidence that this would have played out differently if the guy running away had been white, that some people are making too much of race? And on the other side, are some liberal pundits going too far and saying, well, there are many, many cases like this, or a lot of bad cops out there, rather than just dealing with the one case in South Carolina?
Well, Howie, I think the one thing that's really overwhelming is this video. And I think we've reached a point, at least I did, and I know when I watched it, it would sit on the desk on my TV with the sound off this week, and it just kept playing over and over. And it came to me that I think this in the Eric Garner video in Staten Island,
choking death, yeah,
where they look like executions almost to some people, that if you're a fair-minded white viewer, you go, my God, this stuff is going on. And it's like how the evening news reports in the 60s from CBS and NBC with the fire hoses and the dogs. I think these videos are so powerful that they blow almost everything out of the discussion. Then it does come back to race, of course.
And of course, these videos are shot by bystanders. In this case, it was a barber who was on his way to work. The guy's name is Faden Santana. I think he's a hero in this. Let's show a little bit of an interview that he did the other day.
I won't deny that I knew, the magnitude of this, and I even thought about erasing the video. And
why?
I felt that my life, with this information, might be, like I say, in danger.
David Webb, obviously, for him to keep filming as a man is being shot to death takes a lot of guts. And of course, if he hadn't been there and there had been no video and the officer had said, well, we just got into a struggle over the taser gun, this whole story would be covered differently.
Yes, it would. And again, kudos to him, Howard. Look, he's filming someone being killed. That alone is something that's got to weigh on his mind. But then the fact that he's concerned about blowback from it, that adds to it. And I think what we have here is a case of a clear video. We have clear evidence. The police reacted very quickly. The media, however, needs to be more honest. We need to really look at this, not surmise, not summarize. The questions can be asked whether this cop would have done it with a black man or a white man differently. By all appearances, this cop was someone who did something completely horrible, and I don't know if we can say definitively based on color.
You know, David's absolutely right. You know, the digital technology has, in a way, stolen this from us. We don't make the pictures anymore. But our responsibility then becomes, Howie, to have a responsible discussion, not to have ideologues on either side take this and try to lead us to their political point of view with it. I really agree.
Yeah, and in this case, I've been struck by how commentators on the right and the left, obviously because of the horrifying video, there's been a certain unity and a more civil discussion, I would say, certainly than happened after Trayvon Martin and that happened after Michael Brown was killed in Missouri.
I think it's part the clarity of this video, but I think it's also the excesses of Ferguson on both sides. Hopefully, and this is always dangerous to say about the media, hopefully we all learned a little bit about that, about taking it beyond where we can go with the facts. And I hope that's what we're seeing here.
David Webb, I've got about half a minute. Do you agree with that? Do you think that
Yes,
everybody was horrified enough by the way the media coverage kind of spun out of control? Of course, there were riots in Ferguson, and the community in Charleston, in North Charleston, I thought, handled it really well and very sympathetic to Walter Scott's family. So you do think that the media learned something here?
Yeah, I hope they did. I hope that evolution of covering stories honestly. And to David's points, again, David is right on. The media needs to evolve to a point of covering the story, telling the story based on available facts and nothing else. And for those that want to push a narrative on either side, they are completely wrong. The community also very responsible in their response. That speaks to the community and versus a community that was hijacked by both insiders and outsiders in Ferguson.
Well, maybe some modest progress here. My thanks to both Davids, Webb and Zurawik. Appreciate you joining us this Sunday.